Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from storyplanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book Everybody Has a Podcast Except You, a creation by Justin, Travis, and Griffin McElroy. Everybody Has a Podcast 2021 is a practical and motivational manual that will empower you to create your own podcast. It takes you through the entire process, from selecting a subject to cultivating a fan base. Podcasting shouldn't be daunting, even if you're low on funds and not particularly knowledgeable about technology. By demonstrating determination and consistency, you can produce something remarkable. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Justin, Travis, and Griffin McElroy are the talented hosts behind incredibly popular podcasts, including My Brother and Me, Sawbones, Schmanners, and The Adventure Zone, among others. They have successfully expanded their podcasting empire to include a television show and have even reached the prestigious New York Times bestseller list with their book and graphic novels. With 8 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book on storyplanet.net. To start, stop fearing failure and pursue your dream of making a podcast. Don't worry about what you'll gain. Focus on the fulfillment and satisfaction it will bring you. 3 brothers, without any special skills, launched a podcast in 2010 called My Brother, and Me. Despite their average talent, they now have multiple #1 podcasts and perform live shows to large, devoted crowds. The key to their success is having a unique idea that excites them and persistently pursuing their podcasting dream. Additionally, the summarizer cover topics such as using a closet as a recording studio, turning unique obsessions into entertaining podcasts, and the importance of consistency in building a loyal audience. Key idea #1. Create a podcast discussing a topic that captivates you. Starting a podcast begins with identifying a topic that you are passionate about and researching existing podcasts in that niche. If there are many similar podcasts, consider finding a unique angle or perspective. Utilize any specific expertise you have to differentiate your podcast. Refine your topic into a one-sentence pitch that clearly communicates what your podcast is about. Finally, ask yourself if you are willing to commit time to making the podcast and if you would enjoy listening to it. Key idea #2. Consistency in the format of your podcast is important for building a loyal audience. Consistency is key when creating a podcast. By meeting the expectations of your listeners week after week, you can build a loyal audience. Important decisions to make include whether to have a co-host, the length of the podcast, and how often to release new episodes. It's important to respect your audience's time and attention by making each minute count. Trial and error may be necessary to find the right formula, but once you do, stick to it. Key idea #3. Regardless of the genre, the main goal is to keep the audience entertained. When creating a podcast, it is important to consider the primary aim and goal of the show. Whether it is to entertain or inform, the content should be selected and presented in a way that engages the audience. Breaking up the show into predictable segments can help maintain interest and momentum. The outro should be short and engaging. With effective framing and storytelling, even obscure information can become fascinating to listeners. Key idea #4. Transform your closet into an ideal recording studio by adding necessary equipment and soundproofing materials. To record a podcast with good sound quality, it is recommended to invest in basic equipment. A good microphone is essential, and a USB microphone is a good option for beginners. A soundboard and cables are necessary for recording with multiple microphones. Look for a space with carpets, books, and soft furnishings that absorb sound, such as a walk-in closet. Use free software like Audacity for recording and editing. Setting up a basic studio doesn't have to be expensive and can lead to a podcast that sounds good. Key idea #5. The key to good hosting is having focus and enthusiasm. Being a great podcast host requires focus and enthusiasm. You need to be your most engaged and enthusiastic self while maintaining your focus throughout the podcast. Whether the podcast is improvised or scripted, being a good listener and actively contributing to the conversation is important. Using the improv tool, yes, and helps build momentum, while no, but can redirect the conversation when necessary. Editing is a crucial skill for podcasters, allowing for the removal of lulls or background noise. Key idea number 6. Editing a podcast involves several stages of refinement. Editing a podcast is similar to carving a sculpture out of marble. It involves multiple stages of cutting, sanding, and polishing. The first step is to remove unwanted noises and distractions. Then, listen to the recording from start to finish, noting down edits with timestamps. Next, select the best parts to include in your podcast. Smooth transitions, remove unnecessary filler words, and add music if desired. Seek feedback from trusted individuals and make final edits before launching the podcast. Key idea number 7, a strong hosting service and online presence are crucial. To get people to listen to your podcast, you need to release it online by finding a hosting service. Consider the service's reputation, cost, analytics, and web presence. Register your podcast on major platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Engage with your audience by responding to emails, using social media to announce episodes, and gathering user feedback. Key idea number 8, making money from podcasts requires being creative and persistent. While it may be difficult to achieve fame and fortune through podcasting, there are ways to fund your podcast and turn it into a full-time career. Crowdfunding through platforms like Kickstarter and Patreon is a good option, as it allows you to engage with your audience and receive direct funding. Selling branded merchandise and doing live events can also generate income. Advertising is the most common and lucrative way to make money from podcasts, with dynamic advertising allowing for targeted ads to be inserted in episodes. It is important to maintain the integrity of your show and find a good match between your content and the advertised product. While you may not become rich, podcasting can provide the opportunity to do what you love full-time. In conclusion, the key message in this text is that the best way to make a podcast is to start and learn through trial and error. You don't need fancy software or above-average talent, just persistence and a willingness to learn. Respect your audience's time and make every minute of your podcast count. To find the microphone that fits you best, listen to demos on YouTube. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.